You just press play on the Last Breath Huntcast, home of the Huntroversy. We're here to entertain, educate, and engage. And in case you didn't know, you only live once. But if you do it right, once is enough. Don't waste it. Hello there, and welcome to episode number 112 of the Last Breath Huntcast, presented by Badlands Gear. If you'd like to get into anything Badlands Gear related, we have a 30% discount code that's applicable to their site-wide. So do what lots of people have done. Get yourself over there. Join our Facebook group, The Last Breath Inner Circle, and any one of us will be gladly hooking you up with that code. Our podcast is also presented by Outdoor Edge, Knives, and Gear. We've got a really nice discount code with them, 25%. Use code LBTV at checkout. LBTV25, that is, at checkout, and you can save 25% site-wide on any piece of outdoor edge-related items. Underwarmer is the third partner of our podcast here, and that is a heated base layer system. So for about $8, you guys can go grab one of those. They're extremely warm. It cuts down the amount of base layers you have to wear underneath your garments, your clothing, to keep you as streamlined and sleek as possible, especially when it's sub-zero out there in the whitetail woods. Our final partner, Moultrie Trail Cameras. They just launched the new Delta Cam. We are going to be putting out a video on our YouTube channel really soon detailing the full operation, schematics, new information, everything you need to know about the Moultrie Delta Cam. It is going to be right there for you. Garrett does a great job of breaking that down. That is going to be hitting our channel really quickly. And on the basis of our channel, if you are someone who really likes outdoor film, we've got 7 full-length seasons on our YouTube channel right now, along with a lot of other great spin-off series that we've had, our Last Breath Live series, the Whitetail Legacy video podcast, and the video podcast of our podcast, which is the Last Breath Huntcast. So, our topic for tonight is who is Alex Nadalski? And we are going to go ahead and give him a call, because you guys may not know who this is, but you're about to over the course of the next hour or so. Alex is one hell of an awesome producer, and he works with a company called The Rise Hunt, who are based in central Michigan. So without further ado, I don't want to spoil his introduction for you, so we're going to go ahead and give the man of the hour, Alex, a call. And if you don't follow him on social, you probably should. He puts out some really good stuff. Here we go.
What's going on, man?
I hear you loud and clear. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Heck yeah.
That's awesome. And I first of all want to thank you for doing this. I know that amongst other things that you and your wife moved into a new house the other day, so I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know that there's probably boxes all over hell right now. Is that true?
Honestly, I haven't got to move in yet. We closed on the house on Friday, but I had to give the seller 6 days occupancy. So honestly, right now we're kind of in limbo. We're selling our condo, so we're supposed to close on that in a week or so. So I'm kind of not really even sure when I'm moving yet, but at the latest, it's going to be like October 18th. So that's going to throw a wrench into things as well.
Oh, shit. Oh, smack dab in the middle of the goods. So where are you moving to, Alex?
I'm moving actually about an hour north of where I am right now. I live about 45 minutes north of Detroit, Michigan. So I'm moving finally out to the country, got a couple acres. So I'm super excited about that. So I'll be in like Memphis, Michigan.
That's awesome, dude. Congratulations. Getting out to the country. That's a big achievement, a big milestone in life to, finally break out of the city. And that's got to be a hell of a good feeling to you, because I know that, like, when I was in the city, when I was a little younger, I had one hell of a time trying to find a spot to shoot my bow and guns. So I bet you're pretty excited.
Dude, it's horrible. And I'm born and raised in the city, so I've never been able to shoot my bow at home. Like, that's something that's so difficult. And then coming into helping produce a TV show or a online show, like, dude, I live in a condo, so, like, I can't do anything here. So I have to go drive 20 minutes, pack all my stuff up to just go shoot my bow.
Sure. Well, that was really a perfect segue. So I gave the listeners a very brief introduction and just said what your name is, but you can go ahead and say it again and describe, who you are and what you do and what this thing called the Rise Hunt is.
Well, I am Alex Nadolski out of Michigan. By day, I am a title examiner. By night, I moonlight with the Rise. We are a group of four guys out of Michigan who started a online show. Um, we really started about 7 years ago, but really the past 4 years we've been really rolling hard with it. We do a semi-live segment series throughout the current hunting season. So you're seeing our hunts drop that we hunted 2 weeks ago. You're seeing those hunts right then. Like our first segment for the 2021-22 season drops October 1st. So when most states are just opening up, we're dropping our first hunt from the year. So that is kind of how we are a lot different than most is we're doing it like semi-live. You're not really just seeing our highlights. You're really seeing our full season. You're seeing the good, the bad, the ugly. You're seeing it how it's playing out for us in real time, and I think that's just kind of fun. It's exciting, especially since most of everything is going to social media. Everyone wants to see footage super fast. So when we came up with the segment series, that's exactly what we wanted to give them is showing them content super quickly.
And I just want to put a hats off to you really quick because it's easy for you to say that, but holy shit, is it a hard, difficult feat by definition to pull that off. So kudos to all of you guys. Kicking out live content, like semi-live content like that is just totally difficult. It's probably one of the most difficult ways to do it. The turnaround times, it puts pressure on the editor, the producer, all the gaps that need to get filled in. So I know that when I had initially sent you an email and message there, I picked my top 3 shows, and I like your show because it is so different. Nobody else really, I believe, that I've watched breaks their series into a segment like you guys. So that is one thing that I really like about the Rise Hunt and that I feel like that makes it really unique. So when you talk about your segment series, Alex, give the listeners a little bit of a deeper dive overview of what you mean by you break your show into semi-live segment.
So what we do is when we first started this idea, and honestly, it was a great idea, but we didn't realize how hard it was going to be. Michigan season is right around 100 days. So we figured if we broke it down into almost like 2-week spans, we can show you our hunts, like I said, just after they're happening. So you're seeing our hunts from the past 2 weeks on that current segment. And like I said, we have 4 guys on the team. So really we are all committed to basically pumping out 5 minutes of footage every 2 weeks to put together this segment series. And as the season goes, things happen. Some people have better hunts. Some have not as good hunts. And when you get into like our segment 5 and 6, you're around that Christmas time where the deer movement's tough. We try to just be we communicate a ton. So if someone has a good hunt, they'll kind of take a little bit more time in that segment. Another thing that is a lot different about us is all 4 of us edit. We edit our own segments. So it helps us out that way because we don't have one editor having to edit everything every 2 weeks. We pretty much hunt every day, and then at night we edit our own segments and we'll put them all together. And then Tyler is our mastermind editor. He'll do all the great intros and outros and all the commercial type stuff. But then he'll go over the whole thing and put all 4 segments together and make one complete segment.
And that's huge. Like that aspect of teamwork is just absolutely huge. To break it in and make some manageable size chunks for those of you guys that are filming to easily edit and put together and then get all of them to Tyler. That's a really sleek system that I feel like is pretty smart when you're trying to come up with a 20-minute long show because that takes a serious chunk of time to put something together that is that long, like you said. So that's another reason that I thought was extremely unique. That was one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you because I had heard that before. So the angle of your show, you kind of touched on that a little bit, Alex. Very real, relatable. If a guy has a bad hunt, you're going to see it. The highlights and the lowlights, if you will. But what can viewers expect from your show, specifically from, the 4 of you guys, when they're watching it? What's your angle if you kind of had to put your couple sentence of summarization on it?
Really, you're gonna see us hunt as hard as we possibly can during each of those segments. Just because, like I said, it's not just seeing our highlights. You're seeing how it happens. You have hunts that are terrible, weather gets terrible. So you're going to see 4 guys that are giving it all they have throughout the full deer season. And one thing is, we are from Michigan, so if you've heard of Michigan hunting before, to shoot older, mature bucks is really difficult. So
Oh,
one
yeah.
thing that also is difficult for us, we all travel to multiple states and pretty much primarily hunt out of state for the majority of the time. Like Nick does hunt Michigan quite a bit because he does have a very good farm here, but I primarily just hunt in Ohio. I think I only hunted here maybe 4 times last year.
Whoa.
So that's another thing to throw into the second series is we're always traveling. I'm in Ohio. Tyler's in Missouri. Tyler and Nick are actually leaving to go to North Dakota next week. So we are all moving around quite a bit.
Talk about a complete and utter puzzle. Trying to film a semi-live series, 4 different parts, 4 different editors, different states. So that to me sounds pretty chaotic. So how do you cope like with the difficulties of doing that? Like your work schedule. And actually in this 2 podcasts ago, my buddy and Pete and I, we tried to nail down and determine what the hardest state was to whitetail hunt. And actually, as funny as what you just said, Michigan was my number 1 pick for the most difficult state to kill a mature whitetail in. And that was podcast number 109, I believe. But what do you think, as a Michigan resident, makes it so difficult to the point where you're like, man, I would rather put some time in, this valuable time off in other states? What about it makes it so tough?
Just Michigan has so many hunters. I believe during November 15th is our opening day gun, and we have about 1 million hunters in the woods. And Michigan is built up of a lot of small tracts of land. So you have a lot of people that only own 5 or 10 acres. So you'll have 3 guys hunting 10 acres, and any deer that comes through, they're going to shoot it. So you get the big mentality with the small acreage parcels that if I don't shoot it, my neighbor's going to. And don't get me wrong, Michigan has a very high deer population, so seeing deer isn't a problem. It's just really letting those deer get to that older age class, so they have a lot better racks on them. But like I said, with the smaller parcels, 1.5-year-old, 2.5-year-old bucks biting, people are shooting them because they think the neighbor's going to do the same thing.
Sure, so it's kind of like that mental psych out game of the neighbor putting subliminal pressure on you and you putting subliminal pressure on him, and everybody kind of thinks, I can't let that deer walk. I'd be crazy to let that deer walk. Is that kind of the general consensus of a Michigan hunter's mindset, generally speaking?
Honestly, yeah, and like Michigan has that old-time tradition of just like that deer camp of just go up and shoot whatever the first thing.
Super deep tradition. We were talking about this the other day, Alex. I gotta believe that Michigan and Wisconsin, along with like Ohio, Pennsylvania, I think are the top 4 like hunting heritage states. Like you said, with just that deep deer camp tradition. Like when you think of deer camp, you think of, at least what I think of, is a cabin somewhere in the North Woods with 5 or 8 buddies piled into it, wearing orange, drinking a beer, sharing a story around a fire, and getting ready for that following day's hunt. So I totally know what you mean by that. And it's really interesting to talk to other people from other states, especially those where it is so tough to hunt. And I can only imagine that if you spend any time on public land in Michigan, experience that to an even higher degree than when you're on private. Is that kind of true as well? I mean, I've heard Michigan public just gets absolutely ran through.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I've hunted Michigan public 3 times. I've never seen a deer yet.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, that.
It's something I don't even really try to do. Hunting private for mature deer is hard enough. So yeah, like I said, I've messed around with public a little bit, but yeah, I haven't even seen a deer on Michigan public yet. So
whoa,
it's pretty tough.
That's incredibly scary. That makes me never want to go to Michigan to hunt at all. So kind of getting off of the pressure talk here a little bit. Talking about the Rise, how did you first come to know all these guys? How'd you get wrapped up in outdoor video production in the first place? What led you to where you are today?
Well, really kind of the funny thing is, and I mean, I've hunted all my life, so I've always had that, but then I got into racing motocross when I think I was probably about 14 years old, and then through going to the racetracks, I actually met Tyler, Met Matt Taggett, who helped start the Rise at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just knew of those guys kind of through racing dirt bikes, and then once we got a little bit older and decided we can't keep breaking our bones anymore, really just kept hunting more, and um, I started traveling out of state. I got to hunt Illinois a few times, and then I got a lease in Ohio, I think about 8 years ago. And really, I started filming. I just got a palm camera to film the bucks that I wasn't going to shoot, just to film the 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds. And that was really kind of how it evolved. And then Tyler started the Rise. He owned a graphic company and just kind of started the Rise as something fun to do. And then he pulled in Matt. And then Matt and I were good friends through hunting. So then he knew I was hunting Ohio and killing some good deer. And I filmed a little bit. So then kind of pulled me in. And honestly, it's just really evolved from there. And 4 years ago, like I said, we made videos here and there and really was more of an Instagram page. But 4 years ago, we all sat down at one of our buddies' houses and really just kind of nailed out a plan of how we can be different. And we came up with the segment series.
Yeah, it's a great idea too. And for those of you guys that are listening that haven't watched it yet, this is definitely one of my top 3 favorite digital series. And like I said, they do a really good job of kind of cutting back and forth, showing you what's going on, showing you the highs, the lows. And I just love the idea of the segment series. So that way I know every couple weeks you guys are going to be kicking something out that I'm going to be able to watch. And it's even more exciting if you got a buck kill in there. So definitely an awesome series. You guys are definitely going to want to check it out. So going back to that, so 4 years ago, you decided, hey, let's do this. Let's make a run. Whose idea was it? Who came up with the idea of the segment series, or was it kind of one of those brainstorm session deals where somebody threw out an idea and you just kind of expanded on that, and that idea continued to define itself and get better and better and better?
Honestly, it was just a kind of a combined team effort. We went to
That's cool.
Our buddy Ryan's house at the time, and just we made food and watched different hunting shows and just kind of picked it apart of what can we just completely do different. And like I said, it came down to just social media. Everyone wants everything right now. So we figured, all right, let's come out with something pretty quick, and then how can we break it down? And just through all 4 of us and just talking, and I think it took like a 4-hour conversation, but we nailed it down to the segment series. And like I said, when we came up with that idea, we're like, oh, this is awesome. And then we got into season 1. We're like, what did we get ourselves into?
Sure. So as it's evolved from season 1, and I totally know what you mean. Like, I go back and look at our season 1 stuff, and I'm like, oh boy, that was really bad. That was a good deer, but man, that episode, not so great. The storytelling, missing a lot of gaps. There's a lot of holes in that thing. And since you guys started during season 1, what do you think is the number one thing that you guys have improved upon from season 1 to season 4, where you guys are now?
Honestly, I think we're a lot more structured than we were. We have a lot more dates set of when this segment has to be done by, when we have to have it uploaded to Carbon TV by. That way, and really just communication. Like I said, if someone has a great hunt, they can take a few more minutes from somebody else that hasn't had so much luck or wasn't able to get out and hunt that week.
Sure.
So really just communication has, I think, helped us the most.
Sure. So the 4 main contributors that are doing editing are you, Tyler, and the other 2 that you haven't mentioned ever since Matt bowed out, correct?
Yes, Matt started his own broadhead company, so he decided to go that route. And during that time, we picked up Nick Cohealy.
Yep.
And who's been a longtime friend of mine, a longtime friend of Matt's. Nick's always killing great deer. He's a great self-film hunter. And then last year, we honestly ran it with 3 guys, and it was so hard that we had to pick up another guy. So Tyler's brother-in-law, Mike Vasquez, actually was definitely very interested, which is kind of cool because he's a newer hunter. So he's going to kind of give a little bit of a new perspective for us. And he's also Native American. So they have a lot of different rules and laws they can hunt by here in Michigan. Yeah. So that also gives a lot different. He's got a longer season. He's got more kill tags. So he is new to the team this year. He started during turkey season, had a great year, killed 2 turkeys for us. So really he's bringing kind of some new blood, some new life to the team.
That's awesome. And you know what? I'm surprised it doesn't exist yet. Is a team of legitimately all Native American hosts, just because the regulations and rules are so lax. I mean, shit, you could be conceivably hunting whitetails in like July. If I know that I would jump on that opportunity if I could, hunt whitetails in July and August. I know some of the western states are opening in August, and I mean, just with how well you can pattern a bachelor group, I mean, I'm surprised that nobody's tried to do that yet, because they can conceivably hunt. It's damn near all year round, just due to the rules and regulations that are imposed, especially on some of those Indian reservations. It's like there's borderline no laws in some of those areas. So that's pretty crazy, and I'm surprised nobody's done it yet. But that's really cool. That's a cool dynamic, really interesting. That you said Tyler's brother-in-law, correct?
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'll be looking for him coming down the pipe this season. And you were saying earlier that there's about 4 of you guys. So do you basically break it up into the point where each of you guys have got about 5-ish minutes? Is that kind of the general rule of thumb? Everybody shoots for 5?
Yep, that is really it, because we're trying to shoot for a 20-minute show to try to get more on that real TV show length. But we're all have to do 5 minutes episode or 5-minute segments for 7 complete segments for the season. And like I said, from there we're gonna just communicate a ton. So if someone has a kill, obviously they're gonna get more, probably closer to 10 minutes, maybe a little bit over. And if someone doesn't have a hunt, they could, like I said, we can kind of trade. It's almost like a job switching shifts.
Yeah.
If someone can take it, take it. If not, then you have to go to it.
I feel like people are gonna listen to this, and some guys that are like really on the fence about starting their own production or starting to film their hunts or produce it are gonna be like, holy shit, this is a great idea. I'm gonna take this idea, and we're gonna see some more Rise-esque systems being run out there, just because it is just a great slick idea that's really centered around a lot of teamwork. And so I think that is pretty freaking cool. And like I said, I really like the series. I think that the intro is awesome, the exit is awesome, the following around of your team and really seeing what they're doing on a week-to-week basis, I mean, is incredible. I think that, like, for me, I notice it too, and the rest of the guys on our team forget about their footage sometimes too, when we hold on to this footage in the fall, and we're showing our friends and our family and stuff like that when we get a kill or something like that. But generally speaking, I produce it in the spring and in the summer, and then we drop it the following fall. So it's live when it happened the previous fall, but it's not like anything like what you guys are doing, where it's like, holy shit, Alex tagged out on October 1st. I got to watch that on the 10th. That's still in my mind. That buck is still in my mind. I'm so jacked. I'm so happy for him. I'm looking forward to watching that, and that's really cool. And I don't feel like you guys get enough credit for how damn hard that is to do and how quickly you guys are turning that around. So another big kudos to you.
I really appreciate that. Like I said, we didn't really know what we got ourselves into, but we are working out a pretty good system now. But no, I really appreciate that. That's one thing. I have talked to a lot of other producers of shows, and when I tell them that 4 guys all edit, they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
They're like, we only got 1 guy. And that was kind of how we started, but we evolved because it was too much on just Tyler. So we all kind of had to step up, and Tyler's done an amazing job training us all. We do web calls. Actually, last night we all had a team meeting up at his house just to kind of go over season 4, go over our dates, and just – every year we really try to push ourselves to just get so much better, get our footage better, to make our storylines better, just to be better hunters. And that's, I think, one thing I truly love about the Rise is we are just always pushing ourselves.
Yeah, I would agree. Like watching your, I started kind of picking it up when you guys were dropping season 2. And I would agree with you. I just think it's come leaps and bounds even in 2 years. And to a viewer, they're really going to appreciate that. And it's only a matter of time, until, more and more and more and more people are going to start figuring out about your brand and about your show, and they're just going to love everything they see about it. Just a bunch of down-to-earth guys from an outsider's view of myself looking in, and I really like it, and I think you guys are going to like it too. So kind of on the production side of it, that's kind of one of the centerpieces of what I wanted to talk to you about tonight. What do you believe, and this is just a general blanket statement, doesn't necessarily have to apply to the Rise, but what do you think the most important piece of outdoor production is? So I kind of break it down by emotion, storyline, cinematography, and quality of animal. So if I had to pigeonhole you into picking one of those four, what piece do you think is the most important between emotion, storyline, cinematography, and the quality of the animal that you're hunting/killing?
That's really tough because I really do like emotion. But really, I think you got to have a couple of those in there. I think if you have a really good storyline and you show the correct emotion, I think it's just a banger. Like,
yep, 100%.
I don't think you can beat that.
I agree with you. I've seen, there's lots of shows that I'll watch online that'll have elements of all four. And I feel like if you have a balanced approach in getting all of these four elements, I think you just have a great show. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like your show so much and picked it as one of my top 3 digital shows, is because I feel like when I watch your show, I'm seeing a storyline. I'm seeing a consistent, because of the way and the nature that you guys are showing it. I'm seeing what happened with Alex in segment 1, what happened with Alex in segment 2. It's very linear, and it gets the viewer really kind of in the perspective of the hunter and the one the story is being told about. And then when you guys do kill, the emotions there, the kill shot sequences are always well done. The quality of animal, I feel like this one and cinematography are probably the less important of the two, in my opinion, out of the 4 production values. But I will see, some occasional things online where the cinematography is absolutely excellent, out of this world, but they don't ever kill anything. Or I'll see something that, the quality of the animal that's the pinnacle. It's those guys that are legitimately going after 180s, 190s, 200s exclusively. But the storyline, it'll just be kind of full of holes, and it's just kind of one of those talking heads in a tree kind of thing. So I totally agree with you. I think if you got storyline and emotion, it's an absolute banger. But of the 4, what's your favorite element? Your number one favorite element of those 4?
I would have to probably go with storyline. That would I think if you can throw a whole great story together, and especially like I'm just a whitetail guy. If you have years history with a deer, like you just got me sucked in.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you. If you got a good storyline, it's really something to the viewer knows where you were, they know where you've come from, they know where you're going, and I just think like you said, I think storyline's probably the most important thing for me out of those 4. Even though the quality of animal will go and zing off a viral video a couple of times here and there, I feel like I'm more appreciative of the storyline from a production standpoint. So, what do you think, Alex, the best storyline, if I'd ask you that, is that you've ever laid down, that you've ever kind of tracked and went through as a producer?
Me personally, I can't say I have the best storylines of like completely filmed and all put together. Mm-hmm. I have some hunts that have taken years, and I ended up having like the kill footage. And that hunt, which would probably be like my wife's turkey hunt, because that took us a long time to get it done with a bow. As for a storyline for the Rise, I would definitely say Tyler had a buck named Loki that he had for 3-4 years, and honestly, it's one of the Rise hunts that I still watch to this day and I get chills from.
Sure. So the story of Loki, I'm super familiar with that. And if you would, which segment and which episode do you believe, I'm not going to hold you to it because I know that you're just like me and you've got about 90, 120, 150 videos zinging around out there, and it's hard to pinpoint the exact season and number. But if somebody wanted to go and watch that hunt, Alex, and see Tyler kill that deer, which episode and segment would that be located in? Which season for you guys?
That is Season 2, Segment 5.
Season 2, Segment 5. There you go, everybody. Go to the Rise Hunt on YouTube, subscribe, and check out Season 2, segment 5, and you will see the hunt for Loki. Getting into our next kind of question as we kind of transition here into the production side, what role do you believe, as a producer, that quality serves in the outdoor space? Quality footage, quality storyline, quality really anything. What role do you think that it serves?
I really think quality is really key. One thing that's kind of a little bit different is we are hunters. We are doing some things that are super cruel. That they're not cruel to us. Some people
Sure.
view them as super cruel.
Yeah.
So I think the better quality we have, the better we can show off that said animal. I think that's huge, and really just quality overall. I mean, technology is so great these days. I think that's just what pushes quality. Like, you're not going to want to go back and watch something that was filmed with a video camera that has a tape in it. It's going to be all blurry. It's going to be terrible. But in quality, too, I think one thing that's overlooked a ton is audio.
Dude, preach. Nothing will sink a really great kill shot sequence or a really great episode worse than blown out or audio that is, grainy, chippy, is missing, is cutting out. Yeah, you're totally right. Great audio. It's like I described great audio as kind of like plaster work in somebody's house, right? If you go and you've got a great drywall finisher, nobody's ever like, man, I just walked into your house. This is beautiful drywall work. Nobody ever says that. But if you will go and walk into a house where a shitty drywall finisher has been, the people are like, what's that crack right there? What's it? There's a bunch of cracks. What's that seam that I can see? And I think the same is true with audio. It's like one of those things that people take for granted when they're watching outdoor film where they're like, oh yeah, I'm totally supposed to be hearing this. And then you get some blown out audio or some audio that's missing or the quality's not there. And it's just like, oh, damn, that just totally takes away from that moment.
It can either totally take away, well, it definitely totally takes away from it, but also if you can add audio to the right pieces, you can honestly make a film where you could pretty much watch it with your eyes closed and know what's going on.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with you. That's a great point about audio. I was not thinking that we were going to get into audio, but yeah, you're right, man. That is 100%. That is a tricky beast. You could have the best footage in the world, but if that audio is just something about it's not right, maybe your microphone jack wasn't plugged in all the way, maybe your wireless microphone is set on the wrong frequency, maybe the hunter, it's a windy day, and the little, I like to call it the air fluffer. It's one of those, little fluffy things that goes on the outside of that's a windbreaker on your like lapel microphone is missing on a really windy day, and the listener's like, "What the hell? Why does it sound like they're inside of a blender?" It's just, you're right. They can sink it or make it really swim. So I totally liked what you said about the quality from the non-hunter's perspective too, and I'm sure that you know who Jason Matzinger is.
Yep.
And one of my most favorite things that he's ever said, and that's been really influential and stuck with me, is if we can portray hunting in the best way possible through the media that we produce as an outdoor community, the people that are seeking to end hunting and destroy it for the people that love it are going to look at it with a much better outlook. Like you said, showing that respect of the animal, showing that moment where it's like, man, I've hunted so long, so hard for this deer, and the viewer, even if they're a non-hunter, can just see that respect. They can see the admiration and the overall great feeling that the hunter has at that particular moment, the feeling of that pride that I feel like a lot of people can pick up on, hunting or non. So I really like that you said that too. So getting into production value. When somebody says the phrase production value, Alex, what's that mean to you?
Oh, really? I mean, that's kind of a tricky one. Let's see. Like, if they really said that, again, I would just go back to the quality of having decent transitions, good audio, just really not making videos so hiccupy Or one thing I think I see a lot when I watch videos is I think people want to make their videos longer, so they really stretch their clips out when they really don't need to do stuff like that. You can keep things a lot cleaner. It's going to end up shorter, but you can keep it much cleaner.
Yeah, I like what you said about that too. So let me ask you something. If you were editing a segment particularly for like a hunt that you've done, what would you say, and I know what my answer is, I'll be interested to see what you say here. What do you think your average clip length is that's not like an interview audio track style, here's what I'm doing, here's what my plans are kind of thing? Like your standard B-roll clip, what's the longest you'll let a B-roll clip run for? You personally.
Probably about 3 seconds, maybe less, unless it's like a drone shot.
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna say 4.5, 5 seconds is kind of my sweet spot. I don't like B-roll to get too much longer than that, unless it's a B-roll of a deer or a deer encounter. Obviously, that's really important. But I'm kind of in the camp where I've seen shows that are really, really, really beautifully produced, really highly edited, and there will be almost, I actually did this one time with Heartland Bowhunter. They're my favorite show that's actually on traditional media, your TV media, along with Jason Matzinger. But I think that I sat down with, those little clickers. You can put them in your hand. They'll rest in the palm of your hand. You got a button where your thumb is. And every time you press it, the number goes up, and you can reset it after you get to, 1,000 or 10,000, something like that. I sat there and I watched a 22-minute episode, your TV length, TV produced footage from Heartland Bowhunter, and I counted, and I just went chick, 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 chick every time that clip changed. And, in that particular episode, I counted about 400-ish different clips. And I was thinking, man, that is crazy. I'm going to divide this this time length by 400, and it came out to about 4 or 5 seconds was each clip's length. So they weren't kicking it out too long, because like what you said, I'll watch something sometimes and it'll be like, wow, this clip is gone for really, really, really long. Like, holy smokes, is this gonna end or what's going on here? But I really like what you said about the production value, meaning just it's smooth and it flows well together, like overall general flow. So again, that's something we agree with. Your favorite moment, though, that you've ever captured on film? I know you're talking about Tyler's hunt for Loki, but what's personally like your thing where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe that just happened, if you had to pick one, other than your wife's bow hunt turkey that you just that you talked about a little bit ago?
Really, the turkey one, my wife's turkey one was probably one of the ones. I think my most special was when I probably first self-filmed my first doe kill, or just first self-film kill. Mm-hmm. I think so. That's one of the things the Rise does do quite a bit, because we live over an hour apart from each other. We're all traveling to other states, so we do have to self-film quite a bit. So really, I think by myself, my first self-film kill was probably one of my proudest moments.
Yeah, I've said it once and I'll say it again. If you're a guy that goes out and consistently can kill and lay it down by yourself, self-filming, that's pretty impressive. There is a lot of stuff going on and a lot of things to get right, especially to get that kill shot on camera is a feat in and of itself, even when you got a camera guy. And when you are with, just by yourself, it makes it all the more difficult. So I can totally respect that and see where you're coming from. So when was that, Alex? What year was that when you first made your first self-filmed kill?
2017 or 2018. It would have honestly been season 1 of The Rise was my first self-film kill, and episode 1. So yeah, I think it was would have been 2018 then.
2018, nice. So if you had a word, and somebody's listening to this podcast and they're like, man, Alex, I'm going to check that out. I'm going to check out The Rise. What would your words of advice and wisdom be to those people that are like going to dive in and take the self-film challenge?
Be very, very organized. I think when you're self-filming, everything happens so fast. You really want to be organized. You want to know where everything's at all times, whether it comes down to what pocket you put your stuff in your backpack, what pocket it is in your pants. Just be super organized, and just so it comes second nature. You don't have to fumble around looking for anything. Just it's an easy grab the camera, turn it on, start recording, grab your bow and shoot.
That's a hell of a good tip. Be organized. That is I feel such an underrated word when people are talking about like how to make this all work. Just because to like, peel back a layer for the listeners with the Rise, here's how I'm assuming that you guys are doing it. You guys are taking the footage. Well, first of all, you're going hunting. You know how to operate your camera. You're going out. You're collecting your footage. You're taking it back home, most likely put it on an external hard drive. You're cleaning and formatting that card. You're most likely organizing that day by date, so that way when you're going and producing your segment of the overall segment, that you know what's coming up when. You're labeling things like, I know all of us, we label our kill shots with a K, so that way I can find it really quickly when I'm looking through our hard drive and kind of see, okay, here's a few clips before it that I need, here's a few clips after it that I need, and then you're taking it into Adobe Premiere or into Final Cut Pro, whatever your editor is, and then you're lining that all up, you're exporting that, and you're sending it via, I don't know, some Dropbox, WeTransfer, Google Drive system to Tyler, who's taking all of that stuff, condensing it into one file, putting the intro, putting the credits on it, kicking it out, then chucking it onto YouTube and Carbon TV. Like, there's a shitload of steps in there, and I feel like that, yeah, you're right. Organization, such an underrated player. I mean, I don't know what editor you use. Is it Final Cut or is it Adobe?
Adobe.
So I know you know this all too well then. If your organizational system on your hard drive or your card is bad, holy shit. Things can get into a cluster rather quickly when you're running Adobe, and those files drop and you're like, shit, why is everything red? My timeline looks like a piece of Swiss cheese now. What the hell happened? I was doing so well. So, and I can definitely respect that and understand your pain and your frustration when stuff isn't as organized. So I really like that tip for self-filmers. Now, are you in the group where, all right, you got your deer coming in, Alex, and you're self-filming. Are you the guy that's going to follow, and then draw really quick, or are you the hole shooter where you got your hole that you're anticipating the deer to come? You press record, you line that up on that hole, kind of maybe zoom out a little bit, and then you draw and wait till he walks into that hole. What side of the line are you on that?
Really, I try to follow the deer in as much as possible until he's really within. It's like, all right, I need to shoot this deer pretty quickly, and then I'll try to just zoom out a little bit, and I will try to kind of guess a little bit which way he's going.
Yep.
But again, yeah, I'll zoom out a little bit and then just grab my bow and just make sure he doesn't move much from the point of I grab my bow. If he does, then I will double check the camera again, but from there, normally they're within 20, 25 yards, so you're able to draw back and shoot them pretty quickly.
Sure. So talking about the goods, what for the photo video nerds out there, what is your rig? What are you running right now? What are you going to be running this fall in terms of your camera gear?
I got a bunch of stuff going on. If I'm self-filming, I'm honestly just using a Canon G30. I just got one of the Lone Wolf custom arms because I hunt. I have a goal of killing a really mature buck on public land in Ohio, so I'm doing a hanging and hunting almost 90% of my hunts. So I'm going as light as possible if I'm self-filming. But now if I am filming my wife or one of the other guys on the Rise, I will run my 80D with a 70 by 200 on it. A lot more audio. I'll have the wireless mics along with a shotgun mic. But again, if I am self-filming, I'm going to kind of go as slim as I can. I'll have probably 3 Tacticams and then my main video camcorder.
Dude, I got to tip my hat to you yet again. You were a glutton for punishment. to not only be going self-filming, to not only going on public land, but also hanging and hunting every time. I feel like every Rise fan that's listening to this right now, send Alex a note that says I love you, because on November 20th he's gonna want to go jump off a bridge, because that is just an absolute and utter shitload of work. I'm
just the type of hunter. Yeah. I really like to push myself and make goals for myself, and I've killed a lot of great deer on private land. And really public land in the hills has been, I'm like, all right, that's something I need to complete and Yeah, doing it, hanging, hunting, self-filming is definitely tough. My back is still sore from last fall.
Yeah.
I need to go get
Yeah.
that fixed before this fall. But yeah, like I said, I have goals, and once I get this public land goal, I'll go back to hunting private land again, make it a little bit easier, have some preset stands and stuff like
Sure.
that. But
Yeah. Okay, so basically when you're on your own, you're going to be taking some kind of autofocusing camcorder, and when you are going with somebody else and you're looking to get a little bit cinematic, up the ante a little bit, you're going to rip a DSLR into the woods. Is that kind of your general rule of thumb?
yep, exactly. Now the camcorder I run when I'm self-filming, it's still manual focus, all that good stuff.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if I can be the cameraman, I'm pulling out all the stops of all the camera gear that I have, and we're gonna lay it down as good as possible.
Perfect. Okay. 7200, also one of the greatest lenses of all time. Really love that length for specifically bow hunting engagements, between the bottom of your stand, the deer's licking the tree that you're in, and about that 50, 60, 70 yard mark. I think that lens is just great for any kind of bow hunting in that general distance. I don't know about you guys, but when gun season comes out, we rip out our 150 to 600, and that seems to be doing really well, out to about 400 yards. It lays some pretty good quality down. So that's kind of what we're running. But your viewers, talking about the Rise viewers, the people that are actually going to consume your show, they're going to press play, that are going to subscribe on YouTube, that are going to go and check out your Carbon TV portal, up your carbon score. By the way, anybody that's listening, better go subscribe to these guys on YouTube and check out their Carbon TV show. Up that carbon score for them, so that way they can rank their videos better on Carbon TV. But what do your viewers, your long-term viewers, somebody that kind of added to your arsenal or came aboard the Rise ship on like that season 1-2 time frame, what can they kind of expect from your show coming into this year, Alex?
Again, like they definitely expect us to raise the bar. I think that's what we are really trying to be known for the last couple of years, is just every year raising the bar. As fast as we have to produce our show, we are trying to do it in the most cinematic way.
Mm-hmm.
So we are trying to give you almost that Heartland bow hunter style, but just rapid fast. So that's honestly, I think the guys who've watched us longest, I think that's kind of what they expect. They always expect Tyler to make another banger intro, make it better than the year before. So yeah, really raising the bar.
Good. That's awesome that it's like goal-driven, goal-oriented, not settling. I really like that, and I would totally agree. Like I said, I started jumping on the Rise ship at about season 2 mark, and I just think over the last 3 seasons, it's just gotten better and better and better. And this season is not going to be anything short of that, and I'm sure that you guys are going to kill some big bucks coming into the fall. And before we kind of get off of the production side of things and into some Would You Rathers, what is your favorite style of video to create? Is it like a sizzle reel, a short, a film, episodic content, or what's kind of like your wheelhouse of stuff?
I think sizzles are fun. I just because you're normally going to pick some really awesome audio and just make it a heater.
Yep.
But really, I think making some of the sentimental videos are probably my favorite. Ones that just really have meaning and storyline behind them. I have one that the hunt hasn't happened yet. My nephew for the first year is being able to do the youth hunt this year in Michigan, which is September the 11th. So I've been filming and gearing up for him for his first deer hunt. So like this hunt is honestly one of the ones I'm most excited for, and it hasn't even happened yet.
That's awesome. So you like sizzles for kind of the jaw-dropping shock factor, but then those sentimental films are kind of your jam too, where you're kind of trying to convey an emotion or maybe a first moment for somebody, like you said, your relative that's going to go on his first hunt. I feel like the thing that I struggle with the most is like that short film caliber thing. I feel like I really enjoy stringing together like episodic content and films and like your longer form stuff, and sizzles are obviously really fun, but I feel like the hardest one of those 4 that I mentioned is that short. For me, for whatever reason, I just it's hard to tell a story within a minute or two.
It's very hard. And honestly, right now the Carbon TV Awards are going on. So we're entered in 3 of the categories. So I had to take 3 hunts and get them down to under 3 minutes. And dude, I struggle with it. I'm like, how can I tell you this full story and to the ability that I want to tell you this story in 3 minutes? I mean, the segments were already made, the ones that are aired, but I had to cut them down. And like, it's just really hard to show the full story in a short 3-minute or less video.
It's almost like it's like being a kid and going to kindergarten on your first day, and your mom says, "Hey, you can pack one toy to take with you, but that's it." And you've got this big ass room full of toys, or this closet full of toys, and you're like, "But I want to take all this shit with me." and here you are with this time constraint. And dude, I feel your pain. I know the feeling of trying to condense all this really good footage that you're so proud of. You know, you take ownership in making these long films, and they're like, yeah, you're going to need to slash that by 70 to 90% and basically take everything out of it. So, so the viewers, or the listeners, excuse me, they're listening in here right now. How can they go and vote for you guys on the Carbon Awards? You want to explain that really quick?
Yep, they can go right to carbontv.com, and up right in the top, there is a very red, all capitalized letters. It says Carbon Awards. So they can click on that, and there is different categories. The Rise is in Best Moment, Best New Show, and Best Rope-a-Dope. So if you check those 3 categories, you can vote for the Rise Hunt. And there's honestly some amazing shows in here. You can watch clips from every video that's been submitted. So it's something that's really cool, and you can vote every day. You can only vote once a day, but you can vote every day.
Yep, I know that last Monday was the last time I went on there, but I went and cleaned up the Rise sweep last Monday. We had some professional development time. It was the first day of school that I had, so I went and voted for you guys then. So if you guys are listening to this right now, go and hit up Carbon TV, upper right-hand corner, big shiny red button, vote the Rise in Rope-a-Dope, Best New Show, and Best Moment. So that would be a big help to them, and that'd be a great group of guys to see win. So getting into some would you rather questions, Alex. Strap in. I got about 10. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Okay. So this isn't really a would you rather question, but what's Alex Nadalski's electric chair meal? You're dying tomorrow, whether you like it or not. What's your last supper?
It's gonna be pizza, and it's gonna be Paisano's Pizza, which is only in Michigan. It's a place at my dad's house. I'm far my all-time favorite, so that's what I'm going with.
What's good about Paisano's Pizza that you like so much? Is it deep dish pizza?
No, honestly, it's just a regular round pizza. They just have really good crust, really good pepperoni. But if I had to do one other, it'd be a bacon wrap backstrap too. I just had that the other night, and as soon as I said pizza, I was like, the backstrap might win.
Yeah, I saw you cooking that up the other night, so I was wondering. I was like, is he gonna say anything whitetail, wild game related? But yeah, pizza, that's an interesting.
Scratch the pizza. It would be the backstrap wrapped in bacon.
Okay. Your next hunt, you're gearing up for it. Would you rather, Alex, shoot a bear or a mule deer for the next animal that you're gonna take out?
Bear with a bow.
Interesting. So is that mule deer is not tripping your trigger, or is it just that bear is high on your list of things that you'd like to go take a run at?
I've actually shot a mule deer with a rifle, and again, I'm really just more of a bow hunter nowadays. I've only bow hunted for the last 11 years, I think. So
gotcha.
But bear is on my top 3 list, other than a 200-inch whitetail. So I would go with bear.
Hell yeah. 200-inch whitetails at the top of my list, too. I would love to kill one day. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but that would be a pretty damn cool feeling. So you'd go with the bear with the bow. All right. Doritos or Lay's?
Doritos.
Good choice. What's your favorite kind of Dorito?
Spicy nacho.
That's an interesting pick. What are your feelings about Cool Ranch? You like it?
I do like Cool Ranch, but I make a bomb taco salad with the spicy nacho.
Okay, all right. I got to know, what's your take on the purple bag, spicy chili? A fan or not?
No, not a fan.
What? I feel like that's a really underrated flavor.
It wasn't too bad at first, but just after one, I couldn't get down on it.
Spicy nachos, that's a good one. That's my childhood favorite chip right there that you just said. Coming from a state where, you take this with a grain of salt, but I see Michigan and Wisconsin, again, as being the number 1 and number 2 beer drinkingest states in the United States. So at your local tavern or watering hole, I can't let you have a light beer, but you got to pick between a stout or an amber. Which one are you picking out of those two?
Oh, dude, that's tough because I'm just a Bud Light guy, so you're going to have to just give me either one. I'll drink whatever.
Okay, fair enough. Whatever somebody buys and sticks in front of you first, huh?
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. So things are pretty boring where we live, and that's in Michigan and Illinois. We don't have a whole lot of cool, glamorous animals to hunt. So we got whitetails, deer, turkey. I know so is it in the UP, Alex, that there's an elk herd? Is that true or false, or did they introduce it? Or I keep seeing things about a Michigan elk herd. Is there one up there?
Yep, we do have elk herd. It's actually in the Lower Peninsula.
I'll be dang.
Some in the Upper Peninsula as well. We do have an elk season here. To pull an elk tag is pretty much like winning the lottery. I think there's there's like 90 tags given out.
Holy shit.
Half a cow, half a bull, and it's pretty much a guaranteed thing. When you pull a tag in Michigan, one of my buddies actually pulled one 2 years ago, got a cow tag. And, yeah, they pretty much just set you up with a guide, and it's pretty much just a for sure thing. But, yeah, they give out, I think it's like 92 tags a year or something like that.
And what you were saying earlier in the podcast about, like, literally, because I've seen the numbers for it as well, and the number of, and it makes sense, like I myself, if I had to move states, my top 3 states that I would move to are, in this order, Wyoming. My next state after that would probably be, like, Idaho or Utah, tied. And then my number 3 is Michigan. We've been going up there with my family for years. We actually have a little crappy cabin that we built a big addition onto that my whole family can stay at in a small town called Honor that's about 30 minutes west of Traverse City, up there in Benzie County by Sleeping Bear Dune National Lakeshore. So I just love it up there. The amount of public water that's up there, it totally makes sense to me, like analyzing Michigan from the outside looking in, as to why there's so many sportsmen that live up there. I mean, it's a paradise for anybody that loves to hunt and fish.
Yeah, fishing in Michigan is huge. Absolutely. Like, we have some amazing fishing. Our turkey hunting is amazing here, but it's just the whitetail. Like I said, you got that old school deer camp kind of vibe and just small property. So we have great whitetail deer. They just don't get to maturity.
Sure. It's a shame because I feel like, especially in like that southern Michigan where you're really still in agricultural land, there's some big bucks that are killed in southern Michigan every year.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's definitely popping down there. And again, southern Michigan also, I don't know if you know this, you can't use a rifle in southern Michigan. In northern Michigan, you can. So that's a huge factor as well.
That is huge. I did not know that. And I bet a lot of other listeners, non-Michiganders, didn't know that too. So that totally makes a lot of sense of why it's even harder to kill in northern Michigan.
Yep.
So back to the question, coyotes or turkey? Which would you rather hunt of those two?
Oh, coyote for sure.
Interesting. You jumped on that pretty quick. What about coyotes do you like?
I honestly don't like coyotes at all. Every time I see a picture of one on social media eating a deer or a fawn, like, it just enrages me. So any coyote that comes in, your deer hunt turns into a coyote hunt real quick.
Well said. So it's not necessarily that you like to hunt coyotes, it's you like killing them and seeing them dead.
Yeah, I actually just got a cell camera picture, I think 2 days ago, of a coyote in my buddy's food plot chasing 2 turkeys out of it. And they're flying out of it. And you look behind them, there's a coyote coming. So, yeah, as soon as they come out, they're getting an arrow.
Getting an arrow, getting a bullet thrown at them. I like it.
Yep.
As a Michigan resident, though, because it's so tricky, and this is my next question, which was a great segue, the point that you just brought up. If you had to pick one state in the United States, Alex, to move to, cold turkey, picking up and moving, what would it be? Which state?
Southern Ohio.
Really? You wouldn't come out here to Illinois, Iowa, huh?
I do. I really had a lot of fun in Illinois. There's just some reason my heart is in the hills of Southern Ohio. Like, you go down there and you're like, there ain't no deer here. And then you start
right.
poking around and you're like, oh, wow. There's some real good ones here. So, honestly, I haven't got to hunt Iowa yet. I do have 6 points for there, so I'll be going very, very soon.
Jesus, that's quite a lot of points for you to not draw yet.
Yeah, a lot of people are mad at me because, again, I'm on this public land kick in Ohio that I keep pushing Iowa off until I get this done, and then I'll be going to Iowa. But I'll bet you if I was to hunt Iowa, I might pick there. But right now, like I said, I really love the hills of southern Ohio. It's different. It doesn't really look like deer country, but it's a lot of fun.
I actually just was chatting back and forth with Ben Rising the other day from Whitetail Edge, and dude, they kill some hammers in Ohio. I mean, giants, just slob of deer, and I feel like he really puts Ohio on the map. You know, from an outsider looking in, again, I think some of the hardest 3 states to hunt are Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and he certainly, I mean, is just banging giants out there. Along with some other guys, and it's impressive to see, like in a highly populated, highly percentage hunted state where there's a lot of people that are hunting for him to get it done. So interesting pick. I was thinking you were coming a little bit further west with that pick, but nevertheless you're going to southern Ohio. So you kind of already answered this next one, but this is a little tricky one. Would you rather only hunt with a bow for the next decade, 10 years, or only with a gun for 4? You can't pick up either or in those time periods, but which one would you choose?
I'm only going to hunt with a bow for the rest of my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I mean, honestly, to the point of when I'm older and I can't draw back even 30 pounds, like maybe we'll have to switch to a crossbow. But like I said, I haven't killed a deer with a gun since 2009 or 10.
Damn.
Ever since then, I've been bow only, and I don't see myself ever changing.
Okay. Let me ask you this. When you go, let's say you draw a nice unit in Colorado or a nice unit out west, and you have the opportunity to go on an elk hunt or, I know this is a really high dollar tag probably. I don't know if I'll ever go on one just because of how damn expensive it is, but like a sheep hunt, a billy goat hunt, a moose hunt, anything like that, would you bend the rules a little bit in favor of a gun on those, knowing your time was limited, or would you stick to your guns and rock a bow?
Honestly, I'd rock a bow. I don't have too much
stubborn
ambition.
Bastard.
I don't have too much ambition for any of those, but honestly, like an elk with a bow, when they're bugling, screaming in my face, I think that would be pretty epic.
I think personally, like whenever I watch it, and I'm just like enamored by watching elk hunts, whenever they pop into my YouTube feed or one of my people that I like to watch online puts an elk hunt out, I feel like you are totally the ultimate predator if you can go out and you can kill an elk on public land anywhere out west with a bow. I feel like you are in the top 1% of 1% of hunters if you can pull that feat off, and that's just
absolutely
tip of the hat, and kudos to any of you badasses listening out here that have done that. That takes a serious amount of skill. So you kind of touched on this one earlier, Alex, but what's your bucket list hunt?
Really, I want a 200-inch whitetail with a bow.
Period. The end.
That's my number one right now. I still want a couple other animals like a bear with a bow, an elk with a bow in the future, but number one right now is I want more giant whitetails.
Gotcha. So I got to ask, you don't have to divulge the secret to me here because we're in, the public domain space here, but this deer that you're going to Ohio for that's got you excited and jacked up, do you think he's of that caliber?
No,
of that goal you're chasing? No, not even close.
Not even close, but he's a public land deer. That makes it a little bit different.
So Garrett and I were talking about that the other day. It's like, I don't know about you, but dude, I don't think I've ever had, I mean, maybe one. I don't know. We didn't kill him, but I think I've only had ever one trail camera picture of a deer that I thought was even close to sniffing 200 in my whole life. And it's not like I live in a state where deer can't get mature. Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, those are your, I think, top 4 biggest buck producing states, along with Wisconsin, and I think Oklahoma's a sleeper. It's coming up, but I mean, I've only ever maybe seen a trail camera picture of one of all the time I spent hunting. It's just been about 15 years now. Do you think you've ever had one on trail camera, or?
Honestly, the biggest one I've ever had on trail cam is the one I harvested in Ohio in 2015, which was he's 174.
Yeah, damn, that's a slob. That's a freaking giant, dude. Yeah, I mean, isn't that crazy? Like, I know a couple people from Iowa and locally. Like, there's this guy named Gabe Adair. I don't know if you know him or not, or know that name, but It's like I was listening to him on a podcast one day, and he was talking about how every day for like a 5-year stretch, every year for like a 5-year stretch, he had the opportunity to hunt a 200 class whitetail on his home farm in Iowa or something like that. And I was just thinking to myself, like, holy shit, I've never got one of those on trail camera, and you're hunting one every year, like a separate one, because usually he kills one of them every year. So that's pretty nuts to think about. So I hope you accomplish that. Give yourself a time. Yeah.
The craziest thing about it is, and we've talked about Michigan, how tough it is here, but the one 200 I've seen twice has been in Michigan. He's been on the outskirts of the city, though. He was living right next to an ice rink that my nephew used to play hockey at, and I was coaching at the time, so I'd see him on my way to practice. And that was really what put that goal into. It's really put that goal in, because, I mean, I've watched this deer from half a mile away, and I was shaking my truck. And you're talking, it's like the end of July. You can't hunt this deer. I don't have a bow. I'm in my truck half a mile away, and I'm like, this deer is so big.
Jesus. So what ended up happening to him? Did anybody locally kill him, or?
He did die. Sadly, I've seen multiple different pictures of different people that have said they've killed him. And the funny thing was, like, I got word of this deer, and so I went out, and like I said, he's a local one, so I was able to find him within a couple weeks. And I'm like, all right, this deer does exist. And then I heard he got shot just after Thanksgiving. So I started watching all the Michigan Facebook hunting pages, and no one's talking about this deer. And you maybe get 200 killed a year in Michigan. If it's getting killed, you're hearing about it. So I put it online. I go, all right, who knows about this deer? And, man, I got a lot of bad comments. A lot of people wanting to fight me over it.
Jesus.
And, going into it, talking to the neighbors and stuff like that, because obviously they saw my post and they knew it was deer. Yeah, it got into it. Doesn't sound like it was legally killed, which makes it even worse.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, because a deer of that caliber, like, I don't know. I don't know how people can do that, but.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That's a huge bummer. So if you, I mean, could you have had the opportunity to hunt that deer? I mean, conceivably, if you would have got your permission lined up right, or?
I could have got, getting permission would have been obviously the hardest point, because there is a lot of hunters in that area, and the thing of how this deer got so big was half mile north of where I was seeing him at is a big public park where you can't hunt. So this deer was going in there for years and years and years, and just at the end of the rut made a mistake and came across the road where he was able to get shot. Or like I said, I don't know the full story. It is definitely a shady story, so he could have got even shot in that park for all I know.
Oh, no. God, that sucks. Okay. Kind of, man, that's a huge bummer that it had to die that way, and at least I guess somebody found him. I don't know. I guess that's the silver lining, I suppose. But
right.
On down your list, Alex, you got your 200-inch whitetail at number 1. What's spots like 2 through 5 look for you?
190-inch whitetail, 180-inch whitetail. Truly, I'm a whitetail guy through and through.
Sure.
But if you want to get away from whitetail, like I said, a bear, an elk, and really anything with a bow. I have shot a gator with a bow, so that was really cool.
I'll be dang.
I would love to go do that again.
So if I flash a bunch of Western state tickets out in front of your face, Alex Nadolski don't give no shit. He's not going. He's not leaving. He's not leaving the Midwest in October, November.
If you put elk tags, mule deer tags on the table, and then you put like an Ohio whitetail tag, I'm taking that Ohio tag every day of the week.
Jesus. Oh God. Oh man. I couldn't do it, but kudos to you if you know what you want. So, okay, that kind of wraps us up and brings us to the end of the Would You Rather questions. But before we hop off of here, just wanted to say thank you again for carving out a little bit of time for me tonight. I know it's a little bit of a hectic time in your life. Good luck this season. Is there any parting words that you want to say to our audience here before you guys get off, whether it be about you, the Rise, hunting season coming up, anything like that?
I just really want to thank you for having me on. Thank you for everybody listening. And really, if you want, go check out The Rise on Carbon TV on YouTube. And I hope everyone has the best of luck this fall and kills that buck they're going after.
All right. Well, thank you again for making the time. You're welcome. It's my pleasure having you on here. Thanks for fielding my barrage of questions, and I'll talk to you later. I'll give you a text once I end this.
All right, we'll talk soon.
All right, thanks, Alex. Bye.
All right, bye.
Yet again, what another really good guy. I cannot stress to you enough, the Rise Hunt. I believe that if you tune in to some of the episodes in seasons, 2, 3, 4, especially their newer stuff, you are going to be right there glued to it, and you're going to really enjoy it just like I do. Like I said, it's one of my top 3 digital content creators is the Rise, that group, that team of guys, along with Midwest Whitetail and Chase Nation. So we will be talking in the next episode, in episode number 113, to Sam Ubel, who is the producer and owner of Chase Nation Productions. They do a lot of really cool stuff, a very, very high quality web show as well, just like Alex and the Rise. And then in episode 114, we are going to be talking with Max Mongrello, who is a producer at Midwest Whitetail. That certainly needs no introduction. Midwest Whitetail, one of the longest running, most popular digital shows of all time. And if you guys haven't heard or seen any of this content yet, whether it be Alex and the Rise, Sam and Chase Nation, or Max and Midwest Whitetail, I would encourage you guys to go hit them up on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button because Midwest Whitetail just dropped their season. The Rise is going to be dropping their episode soon, and Sam is always dropping great content on the Chase Nation YouTube channel. So, our trailer, getting into a couple more businessy things before we end out here. Our Season 7 trailer is going to drop Wednesday, September 1st on YouTube at 7 p.m., so you're going to want to be there for that. On Saturday, September 18th, our elk film is going to drop, and our new episodes this season are all going to drop on Saturdays and Wednesdays. So we've got about 16 episodes to show to you guys, and we think you're really going to like them. Some of you guys got to see 3 or 4 of them at the launch party, and we have another, dozen-ish to show you coming down the stretch. Also, the Whitetail Legacy Video Cast Project, that's coming soon, and that will be hitting our YouTube channels on Mondays. On Tuesdays, you can watch our video podcast if that's something that you're into. On Wednesdays, we're going to have Last Breath Lives coming all season long. As we're killing stuff, you're going to be right there and be able to see the rough cut of what happened that day. And just wanted to thank all the new listeners and everybody that's jumping on board for listening to the Last Breath Huntcast. Like we always tell you at the end of every episode, we appreciate you listening, and we'll see you next time, next Monday at 6 a.m. when we talk to Sam Ubel of the Chase Nation. Till then, don't waste it.